being gay is a sickness and they will treat her.
Hello everybody and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I am bringing you my January wrap-up. Of all the books that I read a total of 5 books in January, and I'm really excited because I'm back into reading, hopefully for a while, and I really love recording these reading wrap-ups and talking about the books that I've read. So this is also just exciting because I get to talk about the books that I read. I'm recording this on my phone. I don't know why, but my camera is having a temper tantrum and won't charge. So here we are on my iPhone. Hopefully the audio quality isn't too bad. But I'm on my iPad with my Goodreads with the books that I've read. So starting with book number 1, I read I Hate You More by Alexandra Moody. This is a book off of Amazon Prime Reading, which is different than Kindle Unlimited, ? I gave this book 1 star. I didn't like this book. This book follows this girl named Allie who is super anal. She has a twin brother, and she has this like arch enemy named Chase that's her twin brother's best friend. Her senior year, Chase has to stay with them for the year because his family moved and his mom doesn't want him to have to spend his senior year at a new school, so they're letting him stay with them so he can finish off his high school career with all of his friends and stuff and not have to deal with meeting new people and moving and everything when it's a senior year of high school. But this is a big no-no for Allie, and she like loses her shit. The reason why I don't like this book is because Allie is a fucking asshole. I don't think that she deserves Chase because she concocts this plan with her friend Tessa. Well, her friend Tessa makes the plan up, and then Allie just goes along with it. Dad has a rule that her and her brother aren't allowed to date in high school. Her plan is to make Chase fall in love with her and then have them get caught in a compromising position at her house, so then Chase gets kicked out because she can't date in high school.
Yeah.
When she declared Chase her arch enemy, he didn't really understand why, because he didn't think that what he did was enough to make her hate him that much. He just thought that the way that she was acting was her just showing her true personality and that she was just an awful person. So that's why he hated her. He just thought that she was a truly awful person and was like, I don't understand how you are related to your brother because your brother's so great. And it takes about up until like the last 50 pages of the book for Allie to even realize that what she's doing is really fucked up. And then her response is, instead of just telling him what her plan was, is to insult him to his very core and pick out the one insecurity that he doesn't want people to pick him out for and just totally rag on him for it. And then he forgives her anyways because he loves her, which I fucking hate. So I gave this book, what did I say? I gave this book 1 star? I gave this book 2 stars. I wanted to give it 1 star, but I gave it 2 stars solely for Chase as a character because he is such a sweetheart, and I wish that the entire book was in his point of view because she does not deserve him at all. Doesn't deserve him at all. Yeah, I gave that book 2 stars. I'm gonna read you the end of my Goodreads. If you want to see what my entire thoughts are on this book, you can find me on Goodreads. My name is Kira May Petty. I do reviews of pretty much every book that I read on there. I at least review it a certain star rating. Anyways, so my overall thoughts were 2 out of 5 stars. I would have given it 1 star, but I had to give 1 to Chase because that poor boy is too sweet. Allie is a demon. I would have much rather seen a romance between Shane or Chase, or Shane and Tessa. Both have more chemistry than Allie and Chase deserves so much better, which I stand by. Chase is best friends with her brother Shane, and they have the most wholesome friendship. Chase does not get along with his family. If you're looking at them from the outside, it looks like they're a perfect family, but on the inside, his family really neglects him, and it's like one of those situations where his dad has just planned out his entire future and he doesn't want to do that, and he realized that he didn't want to play football anymore and he was just doing it for his dad. And like all this stuff, and Shane knows that, and so their whole just like everything is it's so sweet. Anyways, moving on to the second book that I read this month. I read Renegade Crew by Kristen Martin. I gave this book 1 star. I feel like that's not really much of a shocker. If you don't know what this book is, this is the second book in the Shadow Crown series by Kristen Martin, who is a author tuber here on YouTube, and I reviewed the first book in this series in like a vlog style book review where I updated you every so many pages and told you about my thoughts on the book. And in the beginning of the book, I unboxed both of them, but I didn't get to read this one because that video got very long. But I can link it in the cards for you if you would like to watch it and see what my thoughts were on the first book before you find out what my thoughts are on the second book. I originally was going to do a book review on this. I was taking notes in my little review notebook, and then I decided that I didn't want to waste my energy on that once I got to about here, because it would have just been another one of me totally just ragging on this book, and I didn't want to do that. So here we are in just this wrap up of Renegade Crew. This book follows Arden Leary, Ryden, King Tymid, Queen Cerulia, I think that's how you say her name, and Braxton in their adventures, I guess we could say. This book is following Arden and everybody after they pretty much commit treason and save Ryden and this other bitch from a dungeon. And then Ryden gets mad because he finds out he has powers and storms off, and then like all this stuff happens, and Ryden's point of view isn't really needed because Arden ends up finding out the information that Ryden's entire point of view was meant for, and that could have just been cut out, and it really hurt my brain. I annotated it and wrote my thoughts on the pages. I have some sticky notes in here. In the adventures of formatting books for self-publishing, I have done that. I have a video where I unboxed my first draft of Project Dragon in a book that I got formatted and sent to me from Barnes & Noble's printing press. In this book, there were multiple just blank pages where I think it was just a formatting error. It could have been deleted or something. I just used them as notes pages because there was just so much extra space. There was like 4 or 5 just blank pages where there was nothing on it. And then there were a couple pages where there was just one line on it. I know from watching Kristen's videos that she doesn't format her own books. She just went, there's just like this DIYformatting.com, and she just like download the template, and then she just types right into the template and then Spree saves it, and then that's where she drafts into, is just straight into the template. But I think it shows because of the way that the book's formatted. She doesn't turn off like orphan window control, which is where, oh, I marked it right here, where if a new paragraph, like if a whole paragraph won't fit in the space, if you don't turn it off, it will just put the entire new paragraph on the next page and leave a space here. But if you turn it off, it will split them up, and then it will condense down the size of your book. So I think that if she would have just spent a little bit more time in formatting, this book could have been smaller, but that's just my opinion from venturing into this. Anyways, yeah, I gave this book 1 star. Main gripe with this is that she opens up so many plot threads and so many things to make you think, but then doesn't close up any of them. So in the first book, all of these plot threads get left open, and then you move forward into this book and 20 more plot threads get opened, but then nothing gets answered from the first book either. So then you just keep getting piled on with all of these questions and all of these questions, but you never get answers. And I'm like very conflicted because I really want to also know what happens next, which is confusing for me. I've never been in a situation where I haven't liked a book in a series but still wanted to continue with the series, even though I didn't like the book. Also, I noticed that she let out the 3rd book, Jaded Spring, in like September of last year, but didn't do any promo or anything on her YouTube channel. But anyways, yeah, that's my thoughts on Renegade Crew. I tried to go through and count how many times each point of view pops up, but it was very clear after 5 rounds of counting that they just go in order. It goes Ryden, Arden, the king, the queen, and then Braxton. But then randomly, like in the last 100 pages, it starts switching up and you get people's point of views depending on like what happens. Yeah, so that's my thoughts on Renegade Crew. I read this. I have officially read all of Kristen Martin's books besides her self-help books. I don't really read self-help books, so I probably won't ever read those, and I also haven't read very good reviews on them, so I'm not going to put myself through that. So the next book that I read was Flawless, the 2nd book in the Pretty Little Liars series. I talked about reading the first book in my, was it I'm Back Bitches video? But yeah, I started reading the Pretty Little Liars series. I adore the TV show, and so I've been borrowing the books from my friend, and I read the first one, and the first one is a cookie cutter version of like the first 2 episodes, and then after that, the books are very different from the TV show. But I gave this 3 stars. I very much enjoyed these books. I think if I would have read them when I was younger, I definitely would have liked them a lot more. I gave it 3 stars because it's not a a perfect book. There's a lot of repetition and constantly reminding you of the things that have happened in the book from each point of view. And the girls, it's a little harder to get in their heads because it's written in third point of view, but I understand because you're jumping between 4 points of views of people, between Spencer, Arya, and Emily. And Hannah. The first book, you pretty much get Arya coming back, Spencer doing her thing, Emily questioning if she's gay and swimming, and then Hannah being a bitchy girl with Mona and flashing people in a mall. And then the end of the book is the girls going to Allie's funeral because Allie's body is found. And then this book starts off after that, where they all know that each other are getting messages from A. Spencer has taken Melissa's boyfriend, Ren. Hannah's struggling with the fact that she got arrested and her dad's back because her mom called him. Emily's still dealing with the fact that she thinks that she's gay, and her mom finds out. And her mom's like, I don't want you hanging out with that type of person. And so she thinks that her mom's racist because Maya is black, but it's more because she's homophobic because Emily is gay. Arya's mom finds out that her dad's cheating. Arya, confronts Meredith. Oh, Arya starts dating Sean, which is Hannah's ex-boyfriend, but that is not happening in the TV show. I thought that was interesting. So that's what happens in this book. How does this book end? This book ends with Hannah getting hit by a car, right? Oh no, this book ends with Toby dying, which Toby is clearly not dead in the TV show. If you've seen the TV show, Toby is there until the end. He dies in this book. Spoiler. Anyways, if you plan on reading these and I spoil them, that's too bad. They came out in 2006. I think this one came out in 2007, but they're definitely not marketed for 21-year-olds to be reading them. They're more marketed probably for middle schoolers, but I'm very much enjoying reading this series. I'm probably just going to give them all 3 stars across the board. That's what I've been doing because I'm enjoying them because I love the show so much. But if I was looking at them with more of a critical eye, I definitely wouldn't rate them 4 or 5 stars, but I liked them. So they're 3 stars. They're in the middle. They're okay, but it's an intriguing storyline, and I also am very much liking drawing the parallels between the TV show and what they put in the TV show and what they didn't and the things that they changed. So yeah, this is the 3rd book that I read. 3 stars. I plan on reading the whole series, so you're going to be seeing a lot of these books until I finish them. There's 16 books in the series, so just hang on tight, guys. It's gonna happen. The next book that I read, this book. So if you are a writer here on AuthorTube, you probably know of the channel iWriterly with Meg Latour. Back in July, August of last year, I got an ARC of her book, The Cyborg Tinkerer. I'll put the cover here. I was very excited because she had marketed the book as a steampunk space adventure novel with cyborgs and a deathly competition and all this stuff. And then I kind of dropped off the face of the earth. I wasn't watching YouTube. I was moving. I was going through a lot of stuff. And I didn't get around to reading the book, and then the book came out, and I felt bad because I had an ARC of it, and then so I read it this month because I was like, I got an ARC of this book, and I need to read it, and I need to put my review out there because I need to. I got an ARC of this book. She gave it to me for free. I need to read this book. I wish I hadn't read this book, which I feel really bad because I requested an ARC for this book from her specifically. But I also don't feel bad partly because she marketed the book weird. She marketed it as a sci-fi space adventure, so you kind of went into it expecting that it was going to be very world heavy, you're going to get very immersed, you're going to know everything that's going on. It's not like that. It is steampunk romance with a side of some death. That's what this book is. The love triangle on this book is so heavy, prevalent. I was confused. The book is marketed as adult. Let me tell you what the book's about, if you don't know. This book follows Gwendolyn Grimm. She is a ship tinkerer. She has been told, this isn't a spoiler because you find out in the first page, she has been told that she has a tumor in her brain and she only has 6 months to live. So she decides to leave the ship that she's been tinkering on for the past year called the Crusty Tulip. Ugh, I hate that name. It makes me want to throw up. Don't know why. So she goes to leave this ship called the Crusty Tulip to be on this planet. She plans on living in this inn and just dying alone because her family lives too far away. She doesn't have the money to go back and see them. And it's also been so long since she's seen them. She doesn't really know how to be hi, I'm back and I'm going to die in 6 months. So there's that. And there's this circus called Circus de Boer, which is it's the circus of cyborgs in Latin or some shit. But so there's this circus called the Circus de Boer that is technically illegal because cyborgs have been outlawed because the Emperor hates them for some reason. Because they think that they're like superhuman and that they're more robot and don't have feelings. Which, I mean, makes sense. But moving forward. In the first chapter of the book, this is what you get from... This is the character profile that you get from Gwen. She's dying. She's dying. You don't forget that she's dying because you get told 6 times in the first chapter, like every page, you get reminded that Gwen is dying. And also, Gwen is a horny bitch. Holy shit. What the fuck?
For the sake of research, I decided to go back through the first chapter and count all the times the word fuck and Gwen's brain tumor or death is mentioned. The word fuck is said a total of 8 times in the first chapter, and death is brought up a total of 15 times in the first chapter.
Anyways, so this book is marketed as adult, not young adult. It's marketed as adult because death and violence, sex and mentions of sex, and cuss words. Oh my god. Oh my god. Speaking of swearing, fuck is literally on every page of this book to the point that I never want to read the word fuck again in my life. We'll just circle back. Starting from the beginning of the book, I don't like Gwen. She's one of the main characters. There's 2 points of view. There's Gwen, there's Rora, and then there's another main person, which is Bastion. I know that Meg mentioned that she did have 3 points of view and ended up cutting one. Pretty sure that it would have been Bastion's point of view. And in my opinion, it was a bad idea. I would have preferred to read this book from Rora and Bastion's point of view and not heard from Gwen, because in my opinion, Bastion is the most well-rounded character. He has the most turmoil and terrible backstory. Rora has more of a backstory than Gwen. All you hear about Gwen is that her family is very orthodox, living on a planet called Orthodox, that they used to be noble people, and then when the Emperor came through, they lost their title, and like, that's it. You don't really learn anything else about Gwen. But you learn that Rora was this amazing gymnast, and like, she ended up breaking her wrist, and so she cut her hand off to join the circus. Bastion was like terrible guy that like murdered people and shit, and he joined because he had a heart condition. The whole point of the circus is what they do is they come to people who have health problems that can be fixed with cyborg parts and then sign them on to work at the circus or perform at the circus for so long. And in turn, they give them... Fergus, no! You can't headbutt the tripod! Anyways, and then in exchange, they perform these surgeries on the people to save their lives. So Gwen gets a surgery to fix her eyesight because she goes blind in one eye from her brain tumor, and they remove her tumor. And then in turn, she has to be a cyborg tinkerer for 13 years in the circus, and then after that, she's free to live her life. Oh boy. I think that she's meant to be this edgy person. I understand that putting sexual scenes in a book and having cuss words and stuff in a book definitely would probably make it adult because you wouldn't want someone of a younger age reading those types of things. But besides the mention of sex on every page and the word fuck on every page and the blood that was described on a couple pages and death, this book read as young adult. One of the things that they say, just pretty much anybody that gives writing advice, is not to pander to your audience. You don't want to constantly remind them of things and spoon feed them information and stuff, because you don't want to assume that your audience is stupid. You want to assume that your audience could pick up on certain things and remember certain things, like Gwen's dying, or like that Gwen is losing her memory, or that Gwen's family lives on another planet, and like stuff like that. But you get reminded of this stuff every single chapter. Oh my god, this book could be so much shorter if she just went through and cut out all of the instances that Gwen says fuck and random sentences that don't make any sense. You could cut out all of the times that Gwen just randomly has thoughts of having sex with somebody in serious situations that don't make any sense. Gwen is so horny. All she wants to do is fuck somebody all the time. Every person that she sees, she just talks about how she just can imagine like banging them in a back alley, which she does do in the first chapter. You get a scene of someone fingering her in a back alley, and then she gets arrested for being at the circus, and then everybody's surprised as to how they figured out that the circus was here when it's described as large glittery tents and like a giant show going on. Anyways, I'm trying to not spoil the book because it's recently came out. It only came out last November, but then I went back and watched Meg's videos after I finished this book. and realized that after talking to beta readers and stuff, she decided to change it to a steampunk romance. And if I would have known that it was more of a steampunk romance and about a love triangle, I don't particularly enjoy love triangles, I wouldn't have requested an arc of this book. And then someone else could have read this book who possibly could have liked it. I also have noticed, since she did market it the way that she did at the beginning, she hasn't gotten very good reviews because she attracted the wrong audience. She attracted the audience of people who expected the world to be built better, because you couldn't really tell where you were. It was a lot of like the white room syndrome, where people would be talking but you didn't really know where they were because it was never described, type of thing. Anyways, one of the things that I read in a lot of the reviews is people thought that this book should have been in the editing stage more, but she said that it went through like 3 editors and beta readers and a proofreader. One of the things that definitely sticks out is she said in one of her videos that this book pretty much was just a massive mashup of all of her favorite things in books. Love triangles, steampunk, romance, death, and all types of stuff, and she just stuck it all into one book. And you can tell, because some of these things I don't think that they should go together. Like a dragon in space, you can tell the dragons were just kind of thrown in there because she wanted to put dragons in there. I think it's a perfect example of you can't just shove everything that you want into one book and expect it to work, because some things just don't work together. I was greatly disappointed by this book. I also agree that this book could have spent more time in the editing stage, even though it was edited multiple times. Moving on, I've talked about this too much. I didn't want to rag on this book. I feel bad because I got an arc of this book, and I didn't want to put out a review solely on the book, because the entire review wouldn't have been good. It wouldn't have been praising the book. It would have all been criticism and me hating on the book, and I didn't want to do that. Moving on to, I think, the last book that I read. Yeah. Moving on to the last book that I read. I literally finished this book last night. It's the 3rd book in the Pretty Little Liars series. Are we surprised? I'm not. So I read the 3rd book in the Pretty Little Liars series. I gave this book 3 stars. This book follows the girls. Spencer steals her sister's essay and then gets nominated for this reward. Oh, Emily's parents sent her to Iowa because she's gay. Oh my god. Probably my favorite plot line. So in the TV show, it's not handled this way. Emily's mom kind of has some apprehensions about Emily being gay, but then ends up accepting her pretty quickly. In the book, her family tries to put her through this program called Treetops, and the lady that comes, oh my god, it made me laugh so hard. The lady that comes tells Emily that this is not something that is biological. This is not something that's just part of nature.
That being gay is a sickness, and they will treat her.
Yeah, I really got a hoot out of that. Emily's found kissing Maya again, and going to Treetops doesn't work, so they sent her to her very conservative aunt and uncle with like 20 kids in Iowa, I live in Iowa, to try to scare the gay out of her, which doesn't work. She ends up coming back home, and then her family decides to accept her. A tells Arya's mom about the affair that her dad had, and then Arya's mom actually gets really upset with Arya, and Arya ends up moving into her boyfriend's house. But then A tips off Sean about Arya being with Ezra and calls the cops, and Ezra gets arrested, which I thought was funny. And then the cops end up dropping the charges because the school didn't want to make a big deal about it. It would have reflected poorly on the school because they go to a private school, Rosewood Day, which is interesting because they reference Rosewood High in the book, and that's where the girls go in the TV show. But yeah, so Arya ends up living with her dad in Meredith because her dad moves in with Meredith. Spencer's family finds out that she cheated and stole her sister's essay. Oh yeah, Melissa like gets really mad and like chases Spencer up the stairs, calling her all these mean things, and Spencer shoves her down the stairs. Oh my god, I would have loved to see that in the TV show. Melissa is such a bitch in the books. I would have loved to see it in the TV show. Love to see it. Anyways, oh yeah, there's a part where Arya storms into Meredith's art class and draws a giant A across her chest, like in the Scarlet Letter, and went, there, not everybody knows what you did. Which I would have loved to see that in the TV show. A lot of this was just me reading the book and then being like, oh, but why did they put that in the TV show? Oh, but why did they put that in the TV show? Anyways, this book ends with Hannah getting hit by a car. Hannah is just struggling because people have found out that she's bulimic. It's like spreading around school, and people found out that her dad, she told everybody when her dad left that her dad died, but really her dad just is with Isabel and Kate. So everybody finds out that she lied about her dad and that she's bulimic and stuff, and so people start making fun of her, and then Mona gets jealous because she's hanging out with her old friends again, starts making fun of Hannah and spreading rumors about Hannah. The book ends with Mona totally just like ragging on Hannah during Mona's birthday party, and then Hannah gets hit by a car because she knows who A is, and A hits her, and then they get the text that's like, oh, A says, oh, she knew too much. So yeah, that's this book. If you haven't watched Pretty Little Liars, then you probably have no idea what the fuck I'm talking about. If you have watched Pretty Little Liars, then you do know what the fuck I'm talking about. Either way, I read the 3rd book. I technically finished the 4th book today, but you won't hear about my thoughts on that one until my wrap up in February. I'm really excited. I want to know where this goes. The 4th book ended very interesting, and I got a free trial through Scribd, so I've been listening to the audiobooks, and I listen to them on 2 times speed, and the audiobooks are only like 8 hours long, so it only takes me like 4 hours to finish a book when I listen to it through audiobook, and then I can like do my dishes and stuff. That's the end of this wrap up. I didn't read any 5 stars books this month. 3-star was the highest, and they were all given to Pretty Little Liars books. My thoughts: I will not be continuing the Shadow Crown series, won't be continuing the Cyborg Tinkerer series. I will be continuing the Pretty Little Liars series, and I have some other books that I want to read in February. Hopefully, I want to read Pretty Little Liars, but I also don't want my wrap up to just be entirely Pretty Little Liars for February. I do have some other books that I want to read too. But yeah, that's the end of this video. If you like videos like this, please give this video a thumbs up so I know, and comment down below if you're reading the Pretty Little Liars series or if you have. I post videos every Sunday and Wednesday, and if you would like to be notified when I do post new videos, please hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you can get notified every time I do, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!